What's good, family? Y'all know what it is. Hope everybody is having a blessed night, man. A lot of y'all probably getting your kids ready for trick or treat for this Halloween night, man. Y'all be safe. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Coach, what's going on with you, man?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. All is well. It's been a long work day, but I'm ready to relax, kick back. The fanatics are in the building. So let's
Yes,
get it.
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry. I definitely had to push the show back to tonight. Usually we have it Thursday around 7 o'clock or 7:30 around that time frame, but like Coach just said, the fanatics are in the building, so that's not gonna stop us. We still gonna give y'all good content. Uh, man, there were fun, exciting upsets that happened on both the MEAC and the SWAC. But we gonna come to that, man. Let's go ahead and get the Division II schools out the way, man.
Already. Yeah, we gotta save the swag for last.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna start with last week's games with the SIAC. So Edward Waters beat Clark Atlanta 55-41. Miles barely beat Central State 28-24. Albany State, there's not even no score on here. Let me get that score real quick, fast because I'm on the SIAC website and the score's not on here for some reason.
Yeah, check ESPN or something like that. Or
That's what I'm about to
NCAA or
do.
one of them.
Sorry, y'all. Just now noticed that. Like, wait, ain't no score here. All right. So, okay. So they beat Benedict 31-3. Come on, SIAC website. Y'all know better than that. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
beat Benedict 31-3. Morehouse, that's another one. They didn't update. They sleeping. They was sleeping this week.
Yeah.
Don't worry. What I'm doing, I'm going straight to their website, the school's website. Okay, so they beat Savannah State in a very close game, 24-16. Allen beat Tuskegee 28-13, and Fort Valley State beat Lane 23-19. Man, Lane having it rough this year, Coach.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's check the standings out before we go to what's coming up tomorrow. Again, a lot of games is coming up tomorrow. There you go. So Benedict was the number one school in the conference, but a change has happened. Since Albany State beat Benedict, Benedict is now the leader of the pack. They're 6-0. Excuse me. Albany State is now leader of the pack since they beat Benedict. I can honestly say they upset Benedict because a lot of people thought Benedict was going to win, but Albany
I
State
did too.
won. I was with you, man. They're
Hmm.
6-0 in the conference and 7-1. Benedict is now 6-1 in the conference and 7-1 overall. Kentucky State. There's another team that's creeping up. The same team that almost upset Grambling, but they're third. They're 5-1 in the conference, 6-2 overall. Edward Waters is 4-2 in the conference, 5-3 overall. Savannah State is 3-3 and 4-4 overall. Morehouse is 3. So Morehouse, Fort Valley, and Allen are all, and Miles are all 3-3 in the conference. And Savannah State is 4-4 overall. Morehouse is 3-5. Fort Valley is 3-5, and Allen is 3-5 overall. Miles is 3-6. Central State is 2-5 in the conference and 2-7 overall. Tuskegee and both Clark Atlanta are 1-5, and both of them are 2-6 overall. And Lane haven't won a game.
Wow.
The Lane Dragons are, they're definitely they're struggling. But this shouldn't be a surprise because last time I checked, they've always been struggling near the bottom of the SIAC.
Right, and one thing I want to point out too, a lot of people been mentioning Felton Huggins' name. Kentucky State head football coach, that he could potentially be Southern next head coach. So, the fact that they're having a good season, they almost beat Grambling. In fact, actually, he went to Grambling and he went to Southeastern. He didn't go to Southern, but I guess since he's doing such a good job at Kentucky State, a lot of people think he's one of like the top candidates for potentially being Southern next head football coach.
Okay, that would definitely be interesting. A lot of Division II schools like Coach Jackson. He's doing his thing at Prairie View A&M, so
Yeah,
definitely nothing to sneeze at.
yeah, and one thing too, since a lot of federal workers, because of the federal shutdown or whatever, like he was upset about tickets not being sold out for homecoming, so he talked about covering tickets so people could come to the game. That's something else I kind of been seeing on social media.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Shout out to
Mhm.
that brother. But going into the upcoming games for this week, uh, technically tomorrow. So Allen versus Morehouse.
I'm gonna go with Morehouse.
I got Allen.
All right,
Savannah State versus Albany State.
I'm going with Albany State.
Me too. I'm with you. Virginia Lynchburg versus Benedict.
Going with Benedict.
Benedict gonna beat the brakes off of Virginia Lynchburg.
Mm-hmm.
Central State versus Edward Waters.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Central State.
I got Edward Waters. Lane versus Tuskegee, and of
Going
course we both
Tuskegee.
going Tuskegee. Yeah, Lane
Tuskegee,
is.
yeah.
Clark Atlanta versus Kentucky State,
Oh, I'm going Kentucky State.
and Miles versus Fort Valley State.
Hmm. Fort Valley.
Yeah, I agree. Fort Valley. Shout out to Andre Smith. He was that used to play with the Bengals, offensive tackle. He's one of the offensive line there
All right, all right, all right.
at Miles. So he's trying to help them young boys out. Shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but let's move over to the CIAA. So last week, Winston-Salem State gets beat up by Johnson C. Smith, 52-27.
Yeah, I also saw they got beat up by either Kentucky or Duke. I think it was Kentucky in basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, the Rams they got beat up in both sports. Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
City State blows out Lincoln, which we both knew was going to happen,
Yeah.
62-14. Fayetteville State beat Shaw 31-13. Uh, Bowie State loses to Virginia Union 24-7.
Mm.
Bluefield State put up a good fight, but in the second half they get overwhelmed against Virginia State 51-34.
All right, all right,
And Virginia University of Lynchburg loses to Livingstone 44-22.
all right.
And here are the standings for the CIAA. Virginia Union is in the lead. They're 5-0 in the conference, but they're 7-1 overall. Fayetteville State is 5-0 in the conference, but they're 5-3 overall. Johnson C. Smith is 4-1 in the conference, but they're 7-1 overall. Virginia State is 3-2, but they're 5-3 overall. Livingstone is two. Both Livingstone and Bluefield is 2-3 in the conference, but Livingstone is 4-4 overall, and Bluefield State is 3-5 overall.
All
So
right.
Elizabeth City State is 2-3 in the conference, but they're 2-6 overall. Winston-Salem State is 2-4. Both Winston-Salem State and Shaw are both 2-4, but Winston-Salem State is 4-5, and Shaw is 2-6 overall. Um, dang, Bowie, they're toward the bottom of the conference. They're usually one of the strongest teams in the CIAA. Not this year. They're
Mm,
1-4 in the conference, and they're 2-6
okay.
overall, coach. And Lincoln haven't won a game all year. They're 0-5 in the conference, and they're 0-8 overall.
Dang, Lincoln and Lane, man, they having a rough go of it.
Yeah, they're having a rough go of it, man. They should have put each other on their
But to say
schedule.
too bad they couldn't play against each other and maybe get a Division III school too. Both of
Yeah, man, that's what they need to get there. But upcoming games that's coming up, man. So we got Elizabeth City State versus Bowie State.
them. Say that again.
Elizabeth City State versus Bowie.
Oh, I'm gonna go Bowie.
I got Bowie. Johnson. Oh, this is gonna be a good game. I'm be going watching. This is gonna be HBCU Go. Johnson C. Smith versus Fayetteville State.
Going
Oh, this is gonna
Fayetteville
be hard.
State. Fayetteville State. I'm going.
Of course, I'm gonna go with the home Fayetteville State. Shout out to my the young boy Unique Kelly, freshman wide receiver there. Um, I'm gonna go with Fayetteville State, but I won't be surprised if Johnson C. Smith pulls it out or even wins. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with Fayetteville State. Livingstone versus Shaw.
I'm gonna go Livingstone.
All right, Lincoln versus Virginia State.
Previous game, who you pick?
Uh, I'm gonna pick Shaw on this one.
All right then. All right. All right.
I'm
So
gonna
what
pick
the next?
Shaw on this one.
All right. All right. So what the next game was?
Lincoln versus Virginia State. We both
Oh,
gonna pick Virginia
Virginia
State.
State. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Virginia Union versus Bluefield State.
I'm gonna go VA Union.
Me too. So, but the game, but ladies and gents, I'm telling you, the game to watch tomorrow on HBCU Go is free, and it's also on the Griot Network. Um, it's Johnson C. Smith versus Fayetteville State.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a good game.
Tell me the Grill Network. We talking about Byron Allen?
Yep.
All right. All right. All right.
Yes, sir. Salute to my brother Joseph Townsend, man. He in the building, man. Appreciate you coming by, always
Man,
supporting.
salute, Big Joe.
Speaking of Big Joe, man, y'all go ahead and get you some old Hillside
Oh,
bourbon.
Hillside Bourbon Company, baby.
You can just Google it, old Hillside bourbon. Google, and on your search engine, it will pop up. Get you something yourself, something if you're a bourbon person. If you don't drink, you know, an uncle, family member, auntie, mom, dad, don't matter, friend that you know they like to have some bourbon around the house. Old Hillside bourbon.
Yeah, man. I think we're gonna have to set up a HBCU Fanatics Old Hillside Bourbon book next year for Southern University homecoming. To get rally up some support. You know what I'm saying? Might have to
Yeah,
set
man,
that up next year. With all the
definitely.
tailgating they had, as long as it didn't, as long as it didn't do all the rain it did this year. No, I think that's gonna be something we're gonna have to look in the next year. We're gonna have to talk about this behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Big Joe said, "Y'all see the analyst JSU hired."
Say that again.
Did we see the analysts that Jackson State had hired?
No, actually, I didn't see that. And did he come from one of the bigger schools?
Let me see. I did not see that. JSU. Oh, they hired NC to allow JSU to hire ex volunteer Tennessee
Yeah,
volunteer Pruitt.
yeah, I saw it. I saw that.
My bad, Big Joe. You probably did put it in the chat, but I was at work, man.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
working
I
10 to
saw it.
7 tonight.
I saw it too. I saw it on X and I saw it on Google.
Hmm.
I mean, it's cool, but my focus still kind of on the Las Vegas Classic and JaCobian Morgan and ZT set. But we're gonna talk about that at the end of the show. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he did put in the chat. I saw it.
Okay, okay. How you think that's gonna end up?
Honestly, uh, I think they're kind of going in the right direction already. Anyway, I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, I think it could help, but
Oh, and it's not Jackson State. It's Jacksonville State.
I mean, still in all. I mean, I hate to say it. It really. I think it could help them, but at the end of the day, I don't. I
But,
mean, as you can see, I ain't Killer moved on it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I mean, that's all right. I'm a kind of use another example, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Terrence Gray is being hired by Mississippi State. I mean, is it gonna hurt him? No. Is it really gonna elevate him? I mean, it'll be something different if you got like a big time player from a big school that can really help you on the field immediately. But something like that, I don't think it's gonna hurt. But it is what it is.
Pruitt, who was sentenced to a 6-year show cause order after NCAA infraction ruling in 2023, will coach for the first time since he was fired in Tennessee in January
Yeah.
2021. All I got to say is, if he was another complexion, he wouldn't have got this opportunity. Yes, I
Well,
said
I'm
it.
not gonna lie. Me and Jay Good. Salute to Jay Good. We was talking about this behind the scenes. We was talking about Coach O. Coach O said he won't. Because of LSU firing Brian Kelly. It's a whole lot of commotion going on with that. Governor Jeff Landry said the athletic director is not gonna hire the next head football coach, but because between uh basically the last two coaches with Coach O and with Brian Kelly, like the state is paying a ridiculous amount of money in terms of buyout.
And you being in Louisiana, in Louisiana yourself, man, and you know the atmosphere there. What everybody talking, man? I know you're ear to the ground, especially in football. What's your opinion on about all this, man?
Well, they got a black interim head coach. Some people were saying that the guy from the Detroit Lions, I can't remember his name, they figured he a candidate to be LSU next head coach. LSU has a black interim coach. They're not gonna hire him. They're not gonna hire the black interim coach. Either they're gonna hire the defensive coordinator for the Lions because I'm just gonna be honest, the complexion of his skin is too dark. Then some people talking about Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. They just hired Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. They're not gonna hire another coach from Notre Dame, especially not a black one. So you can X that out. A lot of people talking about Lane Kiffin. Truthfully speaking, what has Lane Kiffin really done? I'm talking about as a head coach. Has he won a national championship as a head coach? No. So I'm really not moved. To me, I think the two names to really watch. If I'm LSU fans, I would want one or two coaches. Either I would want uh, Joe Brady, who was the offensive coordinator when they won a national championship with Joe Burrow, Right now, I think he the OC for the Buffalo Bills. The Saints really wanted him to be the next head coach. That's why they just kind of dragged their feet on Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn was a defensive backs coach for the Saints. They was like, we're gonna hire Aaron Glenn. We're gonna hire Aaron Glenn. And just like for LSU for Southern, I knew the Saints got me saying Southern. I knew the Saints just like LSU wasn't gonna hire a black head coach. So they dragged their feet and they let the Jets hire Aaron Glenn. And then they really pivoted to Joe Brady. Joe Brady wasn't even interested in the job. So they tried to hire like 3 other people, and then they ended up hiring Kellen Moore. He was like the only person that was on their wish list that really was interested. And really, he was like the last guy to be truthful. So he kind of was like the 5th choice, if that makes sense. So watch out for Joe Brady. He's probably the top candidate. And then after him, John Summerall, who is the head coach for Tulane. I think he kind of like the next candidate because he done built their program back up. Like
Right.
I haven't seen they program like this decent since Bowden was the head coach. Tommy Bowden. So he those are 2 names to really watch for me. But people talking about Lane Kiffin and Marcus Freeman, I don't see them being realistic candidates. Even with the boy name is Kelvin Bro. I think the defensive coordinator for Lions, but I don't see them being realistic candidates. I think those 2 guys, of course, some other people talking about Jimbo Fisher too. I think Jimbo Fisher would be somebody to consider, but Texas A&M still paying him money, whatever the case may be. And then not only that, I felt like he should have been a head coach at LSU already to begin with because, when Nick Saban left and went to the Dolphins, he really was next in line, but they ended up pivoting and going to the MAC, had a Les Miles. It worked out for him. He got a couple national championships, but by right, it really should have been Jimbo Fisher's job. So I think those probably be my top 3 candidates. I don't see Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss to come to LSU, but that's my personal opinion. But back to Coach O, we talk about double standards. Uh, you know, they got a lot of FCS jobs out there. I don't think Coach O get a Power 5 job right now, but I think a team will hire him to be the head coach, on the FCS level, or maybe even a lower level FBS team. But I think the thing that make it look bad for him is the lack of institutional control that he had at LSU. But I think he'll get another shot because he actually won a national championship. Whereas Art Browse, this is a Jay Good and I conversation, like the Art Browse versus Coach O. The reason why Coach O name was brought up, he was like, I don't think he would take the job at Southern because I don't think Southern would be interested in it. But he was like, if he did have interest in Southern, he was like, why wouldn't you consider him or even just have the conversation, even if you really wouldn't consider hiring him, just to pick his brain and just maybe so he might be able to give you some insight that might be able to help your institution as an HBCU and just a school in Baton Rouge in general across town. Like, why would you just have the conversation even if you really wasn't interested in hiring him? And I was like, Southern wouldn't be interested in hiring Coach O because of the lack of institutional control. See, Southern is real big on PR. And I think, SWAC schools, certain SWAC schools in general, like Southern and Grambling, but Southern is real big on PR. That's why, if the rumors are true, that's the reason why they didn't hire Marshall Falk the first go round. And that's the reason why they wouldn't be interested in Coach O nor Art Browse. But I think Coach O will get another shot because at least he won a national championship, whereas Art Browse, he had a lot of success at Baylor, but he didn't win a national championship. So that's where that conversation comes in. That's why we had the Coach O versus like Art Browse in terms of these guys from a high profile standpoint. If you were to drop them in the SWAC, they probably could do some serious damage. But I told him I don't think Southern would consider either one of those 2 guys because of the lack of institutional control issues they had in their program. And even if they were to say like, hey, I didn't know all of this stuff was going on in terms of like the severity of some of these situations that was going on. you still a face of the program. So you saying you don't know is not an excuse. That's kind of like me being a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and there's a lot of corruption going on in my company. I'm the face of the company. I can't just say, hey, I didn't know this was going on. I'm the face of the company. So I have to kind of take not some, but I have to take all accountability in that context. So I think that's the reason why, you know, he wouldn't be considered, he definitely wouldn't be considered LSU again. LSU still owing them money. But I don't think Southern would consider him. But, in certain instances, certain guys get another crack at it and other guys don't. So that's that at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. And when we definitely speaking of Southern and the coaching movement, man. Fred McNair is an interim coach, and we gonna go into that, man.
Yeah.
Um,
That's gonna be the second to last topic. We're gonna talk about that, and then of course the last topic gonna be, the Las Vegas Classic with Grambling and Jackson State.
Absolutely. So let's get the MEAC out the way, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the games that happened last week was I'm gonna save that one for last, but South Carolina State beat up on Norfolk State 51-20. And of course, Delaware State and Norfolk State
Norfolk
played
State played
yesterday.
last night. Yeah.
And Norfolk State tried to rally, but it was too late. Um, so Delaware State won 27-20. But and uh, but going back to last weekend, Howard beat Morgan State barely 33-27, and then a lot of people consider it an upset. Um, Delaware State, Deshaun Jackson's Delaware State upset North Carolina Central 35-26. And
Yeah.
now Delaware State is now sitting on top of the MEAC, coach.
Yeah.
They're on the top of the hill, man. So it's not South Carolina State. It's not North Carolina Central. It's those Hornets, man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of shocked at that, but we still got a little football yet to be played, so it's gonna
Yeah,
be interesting to see how the rest of the season play out. But of
absolutely,
course,
man.
they was their first game of this week here. But like I said, I know you're gonna finish wrapping up the game, and then we're gonna talk with that game last night.
Absolutely, man. But that was the upset I was talking about that happened on the MEAC that was very exciting. Um, but like I said, Delaware State is on top of the MEAC. They're 2-0 in the conference. They're 6-3 overall. South Carolina State is only 1-0 in the conference, but they're 5-3 overall. Howard is 1-0 in the conference, and they're 4-4. 4-4 overall. North Carolina Central is 0-1 in the conference because they dropped one against Delaware, but they're 5-3 overall. Morgan State is 0-1 in the conference, but they're 3-5 overall. And fortunately, Michael Vick's Spartans are sitting at the bottom. They're 0-2 in the conference, and they're 1-8 overall.
Oof. See, I'm not gonna lie, people was talking, but yeah, Dawson Odoms, after he left Southern, he went to Norfolk and didn't do nothing. Man, that's a tough program to turn around.
It is,
And
man.
and
But
I'm
I'm
not gonna lie.
go ahead, man.
I think he gonna have a rougher go of it than Deshaun because it
Absolutely,
I mean, even with the success that Dawson Odoms had at Southern, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of talent here in South Louisiana. And then in addition to that, he probably had resources at his disposal. At Southern that he didn't have in Norfolk. Man, I'm not gonna lie, that was a tough year to climb right there at Norfolk.
yeah, it is, man. And I ain't gonna lie, he did something that um I think put him in a he got his growing pains to go through when it comes to being a head coach, and he experienced it. Um, he had to fire his defensive coordinator that he came in with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because like what I've been telling you about Norfolk State's defense.
Yeah, you saying his secondary has been terrible.
Yes, yes, this secondary, man. I mean, coach, you could have called with Joe. Like you could take control of your high school team, tell their best athletes just to do a hitch and go or a streak, and they gonna burn that secondary. That's how bad
Yeah,
I was.
and I'm not gonna lie, bro. You know that's one thing I'm starting to see with Southern defense. I'm gonna talk about it later on. But when you don't have a lot of talent, on one side of the ball, I mean, you could be the best coach you want to be. Schematically, there's nothing you could do to cover up for the lack of talent.
Yeah, man. But that was a good step for Coach Vic, to making the hard decisions. I know he probably didn't want to. He even had an interview about it, but he said he had to do it. Um, and even last night, they wasn't great at all. They wasn't even good, but they I saw a lot of improvements on that defense. So coaches gonna have to coach. Vic is gonna have to build, especially next year, because they got a good their offense can't score on anyone. It's just the defense. Um, but
Oh,
yeah,
oh, oh! And speaking of coaches, like once we start talking about Southern University interim coach McNair, remind me to bring up something about Terrence Graves that a lot of us were just finding out like a couple weeks back. We're gonna talk about that later on.
we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah,
Uh, so tomorrow, um, we have, because Norfolk State and Delaware State already played
I
yesterday,
already played.
but
Yep,
so tomorrow we got Morgan State versus South Carolina State. I got
I got
South Carolina.
South Carolina State. Yep,
Okay, and then we got North Carolina Central versus Howard.
North Carolina Central.
I got Central too, but don't be surprised. Howard a little scrappy.
Yeah. Hey, scheme over culture now.
Yeah,
You
yes,
know what I'm
sir.
talking about, I
Uh-huh.
mean, culture over scheme. I'm sorry, culture over scheme.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but now we coming into the SWAC, coach.
All right.
Going into the SWAC. So last weekend, Alcorn beat Mississippi Valley 32-10.
I told you. I told you.
Yeah, man, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bethune Cookman beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 31-14. Prairie and A&M, which we all knew, blew out Lincoln 38-0. Alabama State, and shout out to my the brothers Renard and Dave over there at Down South Football on their podcast. Dave is a Alabama A&M alum, and he said he picked Alabama and A&M, because that's his team, man. But he deep down he knew they was
Alabama
going.
State. Dog
Yeah,
walk them boys.
he said exactly. He said he knew they was gonna win, but he was like, damn, he didn't know they was gonna get their ass whooped like that,
Man,
man. It was
Alabama State. Alabama State. Dog walk them boys.
for
Man.
real, man. Wouldn't the kids be saying BTA, belt to
Yup,
ass?
yup,
Yes,
yup.
sir. Man, it was bad, man. And Alabama A&M, I felt was talented. Um, I thought they was gonna have a better showing than they have been showing this year, but um, it just consistency, man.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but Florida A&M, we yeah, and I'm gonna let you cook on that, coach. Florida
Mhm.
A&M beat Southern 43-35. Please tell us what happened.
Well, You know,
And that's Fred Thomas. Fred Thomas.
Fred McNair.
Fred McNair's first game as an interim coach. And
All right.
what was your thoughts, Coach?
Well, first of all, before we even get to the game, in terms of the quarterback situation, I talked about this. Jay Good sent me this, but I didn't know. You know, somebody asked me behind the scenes, well, that kind of knew what was going on, but really don't follow football like that. You know, she was like, why y'all fired y'all coach? I'm like, you know why we fired our coach, right? You know, you big into politics. You know, and we always talk about how a lot of times politicians tell you what you want to hear, but they don't do what they say they're gonna do. So essentially, what happened was Terrence Graves said that he made Fred McNair the co-offensive coordinator and the play caller. And I'm not gonna lie, shout out to Adrian Crook. Adrian Crook kept saying, man, Mark Frederick still calling plays. Like, this is a Mark Frederick offense. Nothing has changed. And sure enough, Terrence Graves said, oh yeah, Fred McNair is gonna be the new co-offensive coordinator. And he changed nothing. Mark Frederick still was
Adrian
calling the
Cook
plays.
been saying that for the longest. And
Yeah,
damn if he was right.
Yeah, I promise you he was right. So basically, that's the reason why Terrence Graves got fired. From what I'm understanding, they would have let him finish out the year, but the fact that he was willing to go down with the ship with Mark Frederick calling plays. That's the reason why they fired him and they got him out of there. And according to ESPN and other sources, Southern had 17,000 people in attendance. And another thing Adrian Crook pointed out, I'm like, man, that did not look like 17,000 people at A.W. Mumford Stadium on Saturday night because, of course, it was raining. It didn't look like 17,000. It looked more like 8,000. And he was like, they don't go about the amount of people. Because, back in the Gap, when you were going to the stadium, they used to have the turnstile, the counter, that counted how many people actually went through the gate. He said they don't go by that anymore. They go by the amount of tickets sold. So I guess they had like over 17,000 tickets sold. So that's what they based the attendance on. I'm not gonna lie, I always sit on the west side, which is the east side. FAMU had a nice little contingency with them, So, of course, as usual, Southern won the toss, deferred to the second half. And for the most part, you could see the drastic improvement in Southern University's offense with Fred McNair is the now play caller. I mean, basically, he kind of tailored the offense around the strengths of his team. One thing we really found out Saturday night, I'm not gonna lie, Jay Good said it. He was like, when it came to Ashton Strader, when he played against Fresno State, he was saying that was more of a situation where when you really don't have film on anyone, you don't know what to expect. Kind of like same thing with the Saints and Taysom Hill. Like, once you see them on film a few times, you pretty much know how to adjust to them defensively. And I think one thing Fred McNair kind of realized is, like, Ashton Strader, he's like a two-read quarterback. What I mean by that is he's able to hit his first couple options, but he really can't go through his entire progression. That's one thing Brian Lee, shout out to Brian Lee, former Southern University legendary quarterback. He was saying that Southern quarterbacks,
Shout out to that legend.
Yeah, Ashton Strader has a issue reading like the right side of the field. But what I'm starting to notice is if he hits like his first couple reads in his progression, he able to, make a play. However,
I gotta interrupt you, man. That when y'all played Jackson State, y'all was in the red zone. I forget what receiver did a slant and he was wide open. And even Jay Howard from what's the commentator name that played quarterback back in the 80s?
I think he went to
He went to Howard.
Yeah, he went to Howard. Yeah.
He
I know
even called it.
You talking about the light-skinned guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
he used
he
to call
even
on
called
ESPN.
it.
He used to call on
He
ESPN
called all the.
and
He's
BBC.
a commentator for all the HBCUs, like
HBCU
primetime
games.
HBCUs.
Yeah.
So He even called it during the commentary. He's like, dude, let it go. We were wide open. And Strother just head on to the ball. That pissed me off. So I was like, bro, you had your touchdown, man. You had your
Yeah,
touchdown.
and that's another thing we really starting to see from him is he's very indecisive. And in addition to him being very indecisive, like I hate to say it, his football IQ is low and his decision making is bad. I'm gonna really get to this in a few minutes, but you know, FAMU came out, they kick a field goal. Southern answered with back to back touchdowns. At the start of the second quarter, Southern was up 14-3, but of course it didn't last. FAMU came back. They kick a field goal 14-6, and then they scored a touchdown 14-13. Then they scored a touchdown. They ended up leading 19-14 at half. And basically it kind of was back and forth. Uh, you know, Neither defense really didn't do great, but FAMU could at least get a stop when they needed. Southern's defense could not stop a nosebleed, bro. When I say they couldn't stop a nosebleed, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And, shout out to our brother, Brent Fox. This was the crucial point in the game. He was like, hey, Jaguar Nation, why don't y'all just, give Fred McNair a chance to see what he could do? Don't get me wrong. Fred McNair, it would have been interesting to see what he could have done with Southern as a team had he got the head coaching job from the outset as opposed to Terrence Graves, as opposed to him putting Alcorn State and Texas Southern in a bidding war against each other and him overplaying his hand and not getting either job. From a timing standpoint, he just kind of latched on to Southern's coaching staff, because he didn't have a head coaching job, basically. But the score was 29-28 in favor of in favor of FAMU. So they was up 29-28. It was 3rd and 6, and they ran the ball with Trey Holly. Trey Holly got 5 yards. So now it's 4th and 1. Your defense has not made a stop all game. The 2 stops they made really wasn't because of them getting a stop. It was more so because FAMU got penalties and they got really behind from a down and distance standpoint. So on issue with Southern stopping them, it was the fact that the penalties really kind of cost them. So it's 29-28. I'm thinking to myself, bro, you got to go for it. He did not go for it, bro. He punted the ball. The ensuing possession, FAMU scores a touchdown. So now FAMU got about 8 points. So again, now this time he's on the minus side of the field. It's like 4th and 3, 4th and 4. I'm like, well, I know he's going to go for it this time. He punted the ball again. It was 3rd and 5, bro. FAMU ran a draw to the running back. The dude ran like 55, 56, 54 yards for a touchdown. He ran untouched up the middle on 3rd, 6 on a draw, bro. I'm like, man, y'all boys can't stop a nosebleed. And the defense is so bad, bro. Often, first of all, the defensive backs can't cover. The
Salute Big
defensive
Reg.
line. Huh?
I was saying salute the Big Reg. He
Yeah.
said salute, fellas.
Salute, fam. But the defensive line, they are very soft in the middle, like a Pop-Tart. The secondary can't cover. Southern has a lot of tackling issues. And one thing that really just drives me crazy is they make a ton of mistakes in terms of pursuit angles. Like they don't pursue the ball properly. If you're running up the sideline and I'm running from the side, instead of me trying to cut you off and take the proper angle, it's like they just run directly behind the guy running up the side. I'm like, come on, man, this is stupid, bro. Like, how many poor pursuit angles can you take as a team? Like, a play that could have been maybe 10, 15, 20 yards, end up going for a touchdown. So it's like they can't tackle. They take poor pursuit angles. The secondary can't cover. The defensive line can't stop the run. So realistically, they can't stop you in any facet of the game. The defense is that bad. In my entire, life of watching Southern University football, this is the worst Southern University defense I've seen in my life, bro. This is bad. This is very bad defensively. So, by this point, we leave. That's so when you see my Quick post-game reaction. That's me leaving out the stadium with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game, and Southern is down by, essentially they're down by 15 points, right? So we leave, Southern go down the field, they score a touchdown. So now they're down by 8. Southern get a stop with like a minute and some change. No timeouts left. You use all your timeouts on defense. This is where Ashton Strotter's extremely low QB IQ come in. On first down, he throw the ball. I think he either throw it to Kobe Brown or Malachi Jackson, one or two receivers. FAMU defensive backs hold the ball on the ground to kill more clock, you know. The second down. I'm listening to it on the radio. I'm no longer in AW Memphis Stadium because I got frustrated. We left. So it's second down, like second 95 or whatever. He drop back the pass. He could take off and run. He could take off and run and get the first down. He don't do that. I think he, whatever, right? So it's third down. He throws the ball out of bounds. Bro, it is fourth and 5 or whatever. This boy throws the ball out of bounds. Throws the ball away on fourth down, bro. How do you lose track of down and distance and you the starting quarterback? Bro, I've had middle school quarterbacks that never lost track of down and distance. It's 4 down. This is your last possession of the game. And on 4 down, you throw the damn ball away on 4 down, bro. Like, how in the hell is a college quarterback can you do this, bro? Like Adrian Cook said, he like, man, this dude must have been gambling on the game or something, bro. How you throw the ball away on 4 down, bro? And I said this in my live stream the other night. Like, leading up to homecoming, I was playing Madden here at my home with my nephew. And I was up. The score was tied. And, it's a video game. And I'm not going to lie, in real life situation, I never lost track of down and distance or time or clock management or whatever. But I could have scored. Instead of me scoring, I let him tackle me on like the 1-yard line. So I didn't realize I used all 3 of my timeouts on defense. And instead of me just calling another play and just chewing up time at the line of scrimmage, I just let the clock tick away. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't realize I used all 3 of my timeouts. So I heard him call a play, and clock is ticking. So I call a spread formation, and my nephew lined up in a goal line defense. So I snapped the ball, and I tried to throw the ball before they could get to me, and he sacked it, right? And the guy, I got like 4 players wide open because I'm in the spread look. He is in a goal line look. So they tackled him or whatever. The game ended up going in overtime. He ended up winning in overtime because I lost track of down and distance. But this is a doggone video game. Here's a real life middle school coach. I never lost track of down and distance in real life. And I never had a quarterback lose track of down and distance in real life. For this dude to be a college quarterback, and I know he's a junior, he's inexperienced, but, man, his football IQ is extremely low to throw the ball away on your last possession on 4th down, throw the ball out of bounds. So it's like, come on, bro. Like, you cannot do this, man. This is insane.
That's crazy. Yeah. Strother, he
And the
needs
crazy
some
thing
more
about
work,
it
man.
is, after that, he's clearly better than Cameron McCoy, even though we know Jalen Woods is the real starting quarterback. Like Jay Good and I was saying, he was on the sideline in warm-ups, like in a jogging suit or whatever, during the game. So clearly he's going to get a medical raise shirt. I guess they shut him down for the rest of the year. And Dylan Compton, they say he has a lot of promise and a lot of potential. He's a true freshman. More than likely, they're just going to raise shirt to both of them. So Fred McNair, his name, Ashton Strother, the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. So, hey, from a passing standpoint, he's clearly a better passer than Cameron McCoy. Cameron McCoy is the running quarterback, but he basically a glorified running back playing quarterback. So at this point, Ashton Strother, the guy the rest of the way. I'm not going to lie, from an offensive standpoint, Fred McNair took the offense to a whole nother level. But the problem is your defense is so bad. Like, a lot of times I feel like Henry Miller could do better from a schematic standpoint. But even with that being said, this defense is so bad, nothing you really can do schematically. And I think at this point, I think when he, from a game management standpoint, on those back-to-back drives, when he punted the ball on 4th down, I think that kind of at least for a member of Jaguar Nation, kind of sealed it for me. Even if he had ran the table, I still wouldn't have wanted him. Fred McNair is a very good coach. I think it'll probably be in his best interest to go somewhere else. Even if you got to go down to Division II school to get a head coaching job or another SWAC school, I think he needs to be a head coach, but not at Southern. The fact that you attached to Terrence Graves in this historically bad season for Southern, I think it's better that, both Southern and Coach McNair, they both get the first start somewhere else,
I agree. I think y'all need some, just a fresh start at coach instead of the
Yeah,
coaching.
and of course, the two names that has kind of been brought up the most, I kind of brought up both of those names. Huggins from Kentucky State, he he from Louisiana, he went to Grambling. And then not only that, but Joe Taylor, West Georgia head coach, he's doing a good job building the FCS program. So I think one of those two guys are kind of like the guys I'm kind of hearing the most. Somebody else brought up Henry Fraser III, but I'm going to be honest with you. Whether we talking about Henry Fraser III or Broderick Fobb or Fred McNair, Dawson Odoms, I don't want any like SWAC retread head coaches. So somebody from a Division II HBCU like Quinn Gray, Teddy Keaton, somebody like that. Huggins, I'll take him. I'll take Joe Taylor. But either one of those guys, we need somebody that's a proven program builder, a proven head coach. We don't want no SWAC retreads. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, man. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, shout out to my brother Big Reg. He a dope content creator. Make sure you subscribe and support this brother.
Man, salute to him.
All them brothers over there, 86 Ghosts and Jada 6. Good show over there, man. And also salute to Jay Barr. He says a salute to the family and chat. Salute Jay Barr, always support. Appreciate you. We gotta get to the topic of the most exciting topic of the show, in my opinion, man. The upset of all college football, in my opinion. Even the PWI schools, it was more exciting, I should say, more exciting.
Definitely in the HBCU realm, this definitely is the topic of the show. This was the game of the week without question.
Yes, sir. So Grambling versus Jackson State. Of
Las
course,
Vegas
and
Classic.
the Las Vegas Classic, man. Everybody picked Jackson State, and to be fair, I did too. To be fair, especially with Grambling almost losing to Kentucky State, the Division II little brother HBCU. To be fair, JaCobian Morgan did go down. Yep. He did go down, but Teasett went down in the final drive of the game, and backup quarterback had to take over. Now, I do want to give props to Jarek Lockhart, freshman quarterback. He did a good game. He played a good game, in my opinion. Of course, he missed some throws. Him being young, trying to get some experience under his belt. It could have been worse, but young boy did what he could. But
I don't mean to cut you off, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Go ahead.
I think if TC Taylor, when Morgan went down, I think had he went to Lockhart initially,
that's right. He didn't go to Lockhart. I forgot the quarterback. He went with another quarterback, and it did not work out, and they had stalling drives.
I guess he tried to go with the more experienced quarterback, I guess. But from what I understood, Lockhart already was the backup, and he was kind of cut from more of the JaCobian Morgan cloth, and he tried to go with the other quarterback, then pivot back to Lockhart, and then they got it going, and then they scored, and they went up by 1. But then Teasett, prayers up for him. But one thing I hear is he's in good spirits, and he's doing better or whatever. So shout out to him. He still was Southern University quarterback. In fact, somebody put this in the comment section. It was like, hey, Southern should have kept him. Man, like first of all, I was always a proponent of them keeping him and Woods, but I knew it wasn't gonna happen because they the same classification, you know. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm a freshman, bro, no, we're gonna say I'm a sophomore, you're a sophomore. If I'm the starter, you're gonna leave because you want to play. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he was doing good on that drive. Cause this the crazy thing about it. I was driving and I had it where I could see and drive. And y'all texting in the chat, and then when he got hurt, I'm like, ooh, he not moving, and he not moving. And then I think I
Yeah,
don't know if it was you or Jay Good or one of y'all was like, his mom on the field, and I'm like, oh no. So, I'm glad he in good spirits and he doing better and this, that, and the third.
that's good, man. I was trying to get to how he was doing, so he is doing all right.
Yeah. He doing better. I still, from what the last I was checked, they still was kind of medically evaluating him, whatever. But he in good spirits, whatever. And of course, he clearly, he done for the year. And not only that, the way they talk like JaCobian Morgan after he broke a bone in his foot, the way they talk like he gonna be out like I think 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. So, that probably might have been like the end of the line for the both of them. And after he came out the game, the one thing about it, I think Mama, her presence and her like rallying the team, rallying behind the team, that kind of gave him enough juice. Because you remember I told you a few weeks ago when I called a Southern Lab game against when Madison Prep came to A.W. Mumford Stadium to play against Southern Lab. That game was
Mm-hmm.
tied when the Southern Lab player got hurt on the sideline, right? Got hurt on the track between the end zone and the track on the east side towards where I sit. But instead of I sit in section E, which is like 8E, which is like the 50-yard line. It was more like section like 2 or 3. No, I'm gonna say like 2 or 3E. He was kind of laying in that area there. And Herman Bristol II, salute to him. He the AD for Southern Lab. That's Herman Bristol III, who's the starting strong safety for Southern. That's his dad. He also played at Southern also. But he was saying once that kid got hurt, the reason why Madison Prep was able to go on the run, he said, because I thought they kicked the onside kick. They didn't. It wasn't an onside kick. It just was a kick that went short, and Madison Prep just recovered it. And they scored. They ran off. The score was 14-14 at that point, and they ended up winning 32-14. So they ran off all them points in a row because that player getting hurt, it kind of sucked the life out of their team. That's what he said, and I think he was right because they really didn't look like they played the same. But I think with Teasett's mom kind of rallying the team,
Yeah,
I think it kind of gave them that juice to finish out that drive because all they needed was one more drive. So they finished out the rest of that drive, and then they ended up making the field goal. And by the time Jackson State got the ball back, you got 21 seconds left in the game. It's kind of like game, set, match at that point. So, of course, Grambling fans really riding high. A couple of them came in my chat, hey, uh, Southern Southern suck, and Southern gonna always suck until they Grambling. First of all, y'all need to pipe down because Southern don't want to buy you classic like the last 2 years. First of all, second of all, don't let this upset against Jackson State fool y'all. Had JaCobian Morgan now got hurt, Grambling wasn't gonna win that game for one. Second of all, I think had TC Taylor with the running back name that you always talking about.
Muhammad Miller.
Yeah, hey, had he run him more when he had the game in lead and it was up, because I was listening to somebody not too far from me. Uh, I mean, it's crazy how in AW, you got people that's watching like literally in real time. We sitting in AW, they got their phone, they watching LSU game. Somebody watching Southern. I mean, not Southern, watching Grambling and Jackson State in real
Mm-hmm.
time in AW during the game. So you got a couple of people with LSU and you got somebody with Grambling and Jackson State. I think and I was listening to it, I think had he run the ball more when it was up and really kind of not let Grambling back in the game, I think they run away with that game. And I know they got their chest poked out. They They got a little run against Jackson State, and they beat Jackson State this year and last year. But don't let the record fool you. Grambling's still a suck team, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get it twisted. Grambling sucks. They got a winning record, but one of them games they struggled to beat UAPB. They upset Jackson State Saturday night.
The
And three of
referee
them other
saved them. The referee saved them from being beat by Kentucky State.
no,
When
that's what I'm
Kentucky
saying.
State was driving, yeah.
Hey, three of them wins came against Division II schools, and you had to cheat to beat one of them Division II schools. So don't get it twisted. Like, don't act like Grambling is the #1 team in the SWAC or nothing like that. They're not, but don't let the 5-3 record fool you. They beat 3 Division II schools. They beat a bad UAPB team, and y'all upset Jackson State after Jackson State starting quarterback got hurt. And TC Taylor pivot, really, in my opinion, he pivoted to the 3rd-string quarterback instead of 2nd-string quarterback. So at the end of the day, bro, like, don't gas yourselves up like Grambling, the best team in the SWAC, is up. Cut it out. Now, I think the thing about the issue with the whole situation with JaCobian Morgan, bro, we got to talk about it. Let's just be real. Like, how is Jackson State going to finish the rest of the season without
If
his
he's
starting
out,
quarterback?
I can I be honest with you with the young boy Lockhart, because he come from a good program over there where he from in North Carolina, Porter Ridge. That's a good they brought that spits out a lot of good Division I talent over there, and Jared Lockhart showed that. You can tell he's young, so if they just keep it simple, run the ball, and don't get elaborate with the young boy, I think they still be all right.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. Some people actually think Alabama State is in the driver's seat to win the SWAC championship now. I'm not going to lie, bro. I'm kind of sitting on the fence with Jackson State. Now I'm not as high on them. I mean,
They're gonna be all right. Jackson
I
State
think they
gonna be all
will
right.
be, but
Grambling, heck, Grambling. I ain't gonna lie. To be fair, they won. They won. No excuse, they won.
I'm not moved by the win, bro. I'm gonna just keep it a buck.
I hear
anything
you.
else,
I hear you. I hear you. Of course, that's why this show here you can have your opinion. But I'm gonna speak to your point. If Grambling, I think Alabama A&M beats Grambling because they're embarrassed by how they got their ass beat by Alabama State. So I think they're gonna take it out on Grambling.
I'm going with Alabama A&M on that one too.
But not by much though. Not by much. But and I could be wrong, but we gonna see tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna definitely like. Well, but are we really surprised? It's the SWAC.
Yeah, I mean, I done told you this so many times over the last few years, and not really, guaranteed in terms of a SWAC. I say that even when I talked about Jackson State, I'm like, yeah, if I had to put money on it, Jackson State gonna run the table. But I didn't think JaCobian Morgan was gonna get hurt either. Don't get me wrong.
I'm gonna raise you one, and I ain't mean to interrupt you. I don't see none of these teams beating the Delaware State or North Carolina Central. Especially with I like Jared Lockhart, but if they don't have JaCobian Morgan, you know what my feelings are JaCobian Morgan, but he does fit that offense beautifully. You know when to run. They got plays where he can throw it downfield. He's a competent quarterback for their system.
But I disagree with you on the whole.
I know you do. I know you do. But
I'm gonna tell you my honest assessment.
Go ahead.
At this point, I think if Alabama State had to replay Jackson State without Morgan, I think Alabama State win that game. I think Alabama State beat Delaware State. I think Alabama State beat North Carolina Central. Their defense ain't as good as it have been. Just like Southern defense ain't been as good. It's not as good as it's been in the last few years. At least
I take that back. I wanna Alabama State can beat. What I meant to say was I don't see if Jackson State does make it to the Celebration Bowl. I don't see without Jacobian Morgan. I don't see them beating the Delaware State or North Carolina Central. That's what I meant to say. Now
All right.
Alabama A&M, how they went toe to toe with the UAB, which is not a good team, but
You
it's
mean
a
Alabama
Division
State?
One. What I say?
You say Alabama A&M.
My bad.
All
Alabama
right.
State. How I saw Andrew Body carve up UAB and run all over them. Um, and he did the same thing to the teams in the SWAC, except for Jackson State, of course.
Well, I mean, you got to realize. I mean, Jackson State only beat them by like 4 points or something like that. So it wasn't like they blew them out or nothing. I think had they run that play to the wide side of the field, I'd have felt better. You know, I told you I talked about this on your show. I talked about this on my show. I don't understand why all of these coaches nowadays they won't run to the short side of the field. It's stupid to me. You know,
Hey, Desmond Allen agree with you. My dog, Coach 67, Coach Jackson will lose 1 or 3 of the remaining games. Alabama State will represent the SWAC.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. You sold on the Lockhart guy. I'm gonna give you an example, right? You know, I know we talked about Teasett. Like Scotlandville has pumped out a lot of good D1 talent over the years, even though
Right.
I think the last few years kind of been suspect. Teasett came from Scotlandville High, and guess what? I mean, I think there were instances where he showed flashes of being a real good quarterback last year for Southern. There were other instances where he was like, eh. So as good as he might be, he's still a true freshman. I don't care how good your defense is, how good your running game is. If all of these components were as great as we thought they were, then they would need a JaCobian Morgan. And I'm not gonna lie, I gotta give like I was saying earlier, I gotta give the devil his due. Like you say, he a perfect fit for the team. He had like a career game against Southern. I mean,
Like you said, Coach. Like you said, if they just run the ball, because if they can lead on all 4 of their running backs they got back there if they want to. So I don't know why the hell TC Taylor just started getting pass happy when they had lead.
A lot of people starting to think now since they like been the top team in the SWAC and they the defending Black national champions, he kind of start to feel himself. He kind of trying to outsmart everybody. He think he the smartest guy in the room, and he like this. He got genius level intellect or whatever. Like that's starting to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it. I mean, people kind of made a couple of rumors about it, but when you're winning, like winning kind of hides all of that. However, the fact that JaCobian Morgan actually went down and he actually lost to Grambling, now it kind of gets exposed a little bit. And truthfully speaking, despite how good he might be, I mean, unless he like Bryant Lee or Eric Randall good as a young, or even Austin Howard good as a good young quarterback, man, hey, it's hard for me to get behind a guy that's a true freshman is my starting quarterback and leading me to Celebration Bowl victory or Black National Championship. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think I'm gonna go with Alabama State. I think Alabama State gonna beat PV. I think Alabama State gonna run the table. Then they're gonna win the SWAC championship now. In fact, I think they're gonna win the Celebration Bowl. I'm high on Andrew Body. And the fact that JaCobian Morgan, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta give the devil his due. I mean, they picked him to be the SWAC preseason offensive player of the year for a reason. And he had a big game against Southern. He had a big game against Alabama State. So I'm not gonna lie, he made a believe out of me. I used to say this all the time. Yeah, he all right, but he ain't Robert Superman Kent. I'm not saying he as good as Superman Kent now, Robert Superman Kent, but I'm not gonna lie, he was starting to make a name for himself. And the fact that he got hurt at this point in the season, even though he had a rival team, like I ain't gonna lie, it kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth because it would have been interesting to see had he been healthy and he finished the rest of the season, how good they could have been the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? So with him being hurt, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not sold on Jackson State, especially with a true freshman starting quarterback. So,
I hear you, but I think if they play it smart, they'll be all right.
well,
But then
I think that's
again,
been the issue. I think that's been the issue because, all right, let's use that theory. Once Morgan went down, why? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he didn't go right to Lockhart, but everybody talking about how great their running game is, how great their defense is. All right, well, why didn't all of these things come together once Morgan actually got hurt in the Las Vegas Classic against Grambling? So that's my thing.
I hear you, man. Well, we gonna see. That's why
Yeah,
we like
time
the
gonna
SWAC,
tell.
right?
Yeah. In fact, what's
Um,
the rest of the games on the docket, bro?
so glad you asked. So this is what we got coming up this week. So we got Alabama State versus Prairie View A&M. That's gonna
Yeah,
be
I already.
this is gonna be competitive in the first half, but I predict Alabama State overwhelm Prairie View A&M in the second.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. One thing I like about Prairie View when they came to AW, Prairie View is a fundamentally sound team, bro. Like they're they're a good defensive team. They they got a good quarterback. When I say good, I'm not talking about like Steve Air McNair, Tavares Jackson, uh, Devontae Kincaid, Robert Superman Kent, Brian Lee Good. I'm not
Bruce
talking about those
Eugene,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about like good solid quarterback, very good running game. I'm not gonna lie, they got a a good running back. Like as the game progresses, he kind of gets stronger. Big strong back, power back. They got a good defense. I'm not gonna lie, Tremaine Jackson has they're a good defensive team. They're well coached. They fundamentally sound. But I think at some point, like you say, I think Andrew Bodies is going to take over, and I think they're just going to overtake PV. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now that Morgan is hurt, I think this is the preview of your SWAC championship game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got Alcorn versus Texas Southern.
That's I'm going to Texas Southern.
Okay. Oh, let's make it official. So you picking Alabama State to win that game?
Yeah, I'm picking Alabama State to beat Purdue.
Okay, me as well. And then who'd you pick versus Alcorn versus Texas Southern?
I pick Texas Southern.
Me as well. Uh, y'all bet not lose, Coach. I'm telling you, y'all bet not lose to no damn Gold Lions.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't know if you listened to the show good last night. I picked UAPB to win. I hope Southern could win, but I'm standing on it. I pick UAPB to win.
Well, I'm picking y'all, so we're gonna see.
Yeah, well, hey,
Coach,
one of us gonna be wrong, and I think it's gonna be you. Unfortunately.
you know what? I wouldn't even bet you on that. I wouldn't even bet you on that, dog. Be honest with you, but I'm still picking Southern.
Yeah,
Um, Grambling versus A&M. I got A&M.
I got A&M. I got A&M.
Uh,
I ain't gonna lie, these Grambling fans really feeling themselves, bro. Like Grambling as good as
I
y'all
mean,
think they are.
they should. They got the one against one of the hottest
Man,
teams
bro, they
in the
done beat
land,
three,
man.
they done beat 3 Division II schools. And that ain't nothing to brag about, bro.
Hey,
Get out of here with that.
when you win in the moment, you win in the moment. It is what
Man,
it is.
y'all went
Until next week.
y'all went to the horseshoe and lost by 70, bro. Man, get out of here.
Yeah, but but I got Alabama A&M, and then we got Mississippi Valley versus Bethune Cookman.
Bethune Cookman gonna beat the brakes off them boys.
Yeah, unfortunately. But and then we got Jackson State versus Florida A&M. This is gonna be if JaCobian Morgan is not. Do we know if he's gonna be out for the year or he just out for a
They
couple of
say
games?
no, they say like 5 weeks from what I heard.
That's pretty much the season.
That is the season.
Yeah, it is the
They
season.
see he broke a
So
bone in his foot.
damn. So yeah. So they gonna have to go with the young boy Lockhart. I'm going with Jackson State.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people have been picking FAMU for the upset. I can't do it
Me
because I'm not
neither.
gonna lie. Hey, they can the AW and beat Southern, bro. FAMU is not that good. FAMU is not that good. I'm picking Jackson State to win this game.
I agree with you, man. I wholeheartedly agree. And let's check the standings, bro. Let's go with the standings. So we're gonna pick SWAC.
And that's the thing about it. One thing somebody pointed this out: if Southern
Hmm.
loses to UAPB, essentially Southern gonna be to replace UAPB, and they're gonna be like the Mississippi Valley of the West. Bro, y'all can't go to UAPB and lose, bro.
No, you can't, man. You can't. So we got Jackson State and Alabama State both 3-1 in the conference, but they're
A-
both 5-2 overall
Alabama
in the
State,
East.
Alabama State needs Jackson State to lose one game the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's what you and Desmond Allen was talking about. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Bethune Cookman is 3-1 in the conference, and overall they're 4-4. Florida A&M Rattlers are 2-1 in the conference, but they're 3-4 overall. Alabama A&M is 1-3 in the conference, but they're 4-4 overall. And Mississippi Valley is 0-3 in the conference, but they're 1-6 overall. That's the East. Now going down to the West, we got Prairie View A&M. They're 4-0 in the conference, and they're 6-2 overall. Texas Southern is 3-1 in the conference, but they're 4-3 overall. Grambling is 2-2 in the conference, but they're 5-3 overall. Those Golden Lions, Arkansas Pine Bluff are 1-3 in the conference, but they're 2-5 overall. The Alcorn Braves are 1-3 in the conference, but they're 2-6 overall. And Southern is 0-4 in the conference, and they're 1-7 overall.
Southern University board. Y'all listen to me good. That search committee y'all got, y'all better not screw this up. Better not screw this up. This is unacceptable, man. For Southern to be last in the West after y'all picked to win the SWAC West, man, this is a effing embarrassment. Y'all, the board, y'all better not screw this up, man. Get it right, please. Y'all ain't really got one right off the rip since P. Richardson. Get it right, please.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't want the football season to end, but I'm trying to see what y'all gonna do in the off season.
Well,
I'm
no, I'm not gonna
keeping
lie.
my
Hey,
eye on y'all.
hey, somebody said this in the chat the other night. The second all the time runs off the clock in the Bayou Classic, Southern University needs to announce their next head coach immediately. Don't waste no time. Like, we need to get a jump start on everybody else for recruiting,
I
for
agree with that.
positioning, for leverage. Hey, let's get it.
I agree. I definitely agree, man. Man, but it was fun talk about ball, man. About talk about this week, last week, and this week, man. Um, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you, Coach.
Y'all can meet me and see me. I'm gonna say about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my YouTube channel, Coach 67 Sports TV, on my Southern versus UAPB Let's Go After Show full post game reaction. Come over to my channel tomorrow evening and check me out as I talk about Southern against UAPB tomorrow. I'll catch y'all over there then. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. And salute to the awesome and amazing LDBC. Peace and blessings, and go Jags, you dig?
Yes, sir. And then y'all know what it is. We have the Southern Baller Show. We have try to have it every Sunday at around 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then of course we have the HBCU Fanatics. Try to have it every Thursday if the schedule doesn't change around 7 or 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time period. So please continue to support. Please continue to check us out. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe. Not asking for no money or nothing. Just want you to hit my like button and share. and trying to at least get up to 500 subscribers for the years out. That would be a blessing. But I appreciate all who continues to support me. Appreciate y'all, all y'all, man. Got love for y'all. But this was another installment of the HBCU Fanatics show. Y'all be blessed.
Peace and blessings.